Nutty Putty Cave Incident. On November 24th, 2009, 26-year-old John Edward Jones entered Utah's Nutty Putty Cave with his brother Josh and several friends. A medical student, husband, and father, John joined the trip as a short Thanksgiving adventure, a family tradition from childhood. About 50 miles south of Salt Lake City, the Nutty Putty Cave was known for its narrow, twisting tunnels and slick clay walls. Some passages had names like the Birth Canal and the Maze. Though challenging, the cave was considered safe for careful explorers. That night, John led the group deeper inside, hoping to try one of the tighter sections before heading back. While crawling through a narrow tunnel, John believed he had found the entrance to the Birth Canal passage. He lay flat on his stomach, pushing himself forward inch by inch. The walls tightened around his chest. His headlamp scraped against the stone above him. Then, the tunnel suddenly dropped downward. His body slid feet first into a deeper section that sloped sharply at an angle. Within seconds, he realized he was stuck. His brother Josh, who was following behind, heard him call out. John tried to push himself backward, but his arms were pinned at his sides and his chest was pressed against the rock. He was hanging nearly upside down in a space less than 2 feet wide. Josh crawled as close as possible, but could see only the bottoms of his brother's shoes. He tried to pull him free, but there was no movement. John's breathing grew faster and his voice sounded strained. At the surface, a rescue team was called. By 9 o'clock that night, firefighters, medics, and experienced cavers were working their way toward John's location. It took hours to reach him through the tight, muddy shafts. The air was damp and heavy, and communication was difficult. Rescuers brought ropes, pulleys, and drills, setting up a system to slowly pull him back the way he had come. John remained calm and spoke with the team as they worked. He told them about his wife, Emily, and their unborn child. He prayed and tried to stay conscious. Blood was rushing to his head from being upside down for so long. His breathing slowed, and his strength began to fade. After nearly 20 hours of effort, rescuers managed to lift him slightly upward. For a short moment, there was hope. Then a bolt anchored in the rock gave way, and the rope system failed. John slipped deeper into the crevice. They continued working for hours, but his body had endured too much. After almost 28 hours trapped upside down, John Edward Jones died inside the Nutty Putty Cave. The passage was too unstable to recover his body. Days later, the cave was permanently sealed with concrete. Today, Nutty Putty Cave remains closed. It stands as a quiet memorial to John Edward Jones, a reminder of how easily exploration can turn into tragedy. Reasonding Cave Incident. On June 8, 2014, a 52-year-old physicist and experienced caver, Johann Westhauser, entered the Reasonding Schachthöhle in southern Germany with 2 companions. The name of the cave, Reasonding, literally means giant thing, and it is the deepest and one of the most complex cave systems in the country. The group planned a routine exploration trip, collecting data and mapping new sections more than 1,000 meters below the surface. The Reasonding Cave extends through more than 12 kilometers of narrow vertical shafts, underground rivers, and tight rock passages. Temperatures stay around 4 degrees Celsius and the air is humid and still. For experienced cavers like Johann, this was not a new challenge. He had explored it many times before. That morning, the team descended through a series of ropes and ladders into the depths of the mountain, their lights cutting through the darkness. Several hours into the expedition, deep inside a narrow chamber, about 1,000 meters underground, an accident changed everything. A rock fell from above, striking Johann on the head. The impact caused a serious head injury, leaving him dazed and unable to move. His teammates immediately recognized the danger. With no way to carry him up the vertical shafts on their own, one of them began the long and dangerous climb back to the surface to get help. It took nearly 12 hours to reach the entrance. When news of the accident reached rescuers, one of the largest cave rescue operations in history began. Teams of specialists from across Europe, from Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Italy, traveled to the site. More than 700 people took part in the mission. Reaching Johann was extremely difficult. The route to his location required long vertical descents, crawling through narrow openings and crossing freezing underground streams. Equipment had to be transported in pieces and reassembled underground. After reaching Johann, rescuers set up a small medical base deep inside the mountain. Doctors treated him for head trauma and worked to stabilize his condition. They gave him fluids and oxygen and monitored his vital signs continuously. Communication lines were laid through the cave so updates could reach the surface. Every movement, every decision had to be planned carefully. Even the smallest mistake could mean collapse or injury to the rescuers. The plan to bring Johann out took shape slowly. He was placed in a special stretcher designed for cave rescues, narrow enough to fit through the tight passages. The stretcher was lifted and lowered with pulleys inch by inch through the long vertical shafts. It was a process that demanded patience, teamwork, and endurance. The operation continued day and night as rescuers took turns working in freezing conditions, often soaked in water and mud. After 11 long days underground, the team finally reached the surface. Johann was weak but alive. He was airlifted to a nearby hospital, where doctors confirmed that his recovery would take time, but he would survive. Jackson County Cave Incident. On April 17, 2019, Josh Bratchley, a 32-year-old cave diver from the United Kingdom, entered an underwater cave in Jackson County, Tennessee. Josh was an expert diver, part of the elite team that had helped rescue the trapped soccer teams in Thailand the year before. In Tennessee, he joined a group of experienced divers to explore one of the region's long and flooded cave systems. It was meant to be a simple mapping dive, just another day underground for a man who had faced far worse. The cave was a maze of submerged tunnels and narrow passages, with water as cold as 10 degrees Celsius. Visibility was limited, and the only light came from the beams of the divers' lamps. They planned to follow a guideline, a thin rope fixed along the route, to ensure a safe return to the surface. For trained cave divers, that line is life itself. Losing it means losing direction, and in the dark, even a few seconds of confusion can become fatal. The team entered the water and moved deeper into the system, gliding silently through the submerged tunnels. For several hours, the dive went smoothly. Then, during the return, something went wrong. In the darkness and silt-filled water, Josh became separated from the others. His light disappeared behind a turn, and when the team surfaced, he was gone. At first, they assumed he would emerge soon, but as minutes turned into hours, concern grew. The cave was vast and disorienting, with many side passages. Without a clear line to follow, it was easy to get lost. The other divers alerted local authorities, and a rescue operation began immediately. Specialized cave rescue divers were flown in from across the United States. They knew the risks: zero visibility, freezing water, and the constant threat of disorientation. Deep inside the flooded tunnels, they searched methodically, following the guideline meter by meter. Josh had been missing for more than 24 hours, far beyond what most divers could survive. What they found next seemed almost impossible. Josh was alive. Rescuers discovered him calmly waiting in an air pocket nearly 40 meters below the surface. He was sitting in the dark, still in his wetsuit, with his helmet light turned off to save battery. His air tank was nearly empty. For more than 24 hours, he had remained motionless, conserving his strength, controlling his breathing, and trusting that help would come. When the divers reached him, he greeted them with a smile and simply asked, "Thank you. Who's next?" It was a moment of quiet disbelief, the kind only those who understand true isolation can feel. The team guided him out through the tunnels, carefully retracing the route to the entrance. After nearly 2 full days underground, Josh surfaced, cold but unharmed. Medical checks confirmed mild dehydration and fatigue, but he was in remarkably good condition. His survival was credited to experience, training, and an extraordinary ability to stay calm in total darkness. For most people, even a few minutes trapped underwater would bring panic. For Josh Bratchley, it was another test of patience and focus, one that he passed with quiet strength.